So it has come to our attention that we are not perfect.
Speak for yourself.
I know. For two Leos and a Capricorn who thinks she knows everything.
Do you?
Yeah. This is very disturbing news. So in light of this shocking news, revelation, it's time to talk about whether we can listen to imperfect vessels, whether it's fair to even share our observations if we're not actively embodying and living them. That is a real question.
May I go first?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. Save the best for last. That's what I want to do.
That's why I'll go last.
No, you just went.
That was an introduction.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I've been around a lot of coaches, self-proclaimed thought leaders, and even non-self-proclaimed thought leaders. And I've known people who work with them, their handlers and all that. And when you pretend that you have it all figured out, I think there's a sense of inauthenticity. And also, people may get frustrated trying to achieve that perfection that these people have set the bar at. In my opinion, if you're authentic, you're imperfect, authentic, you are trying your best, and you put in the effort, I think that's more important than being the perfection that you want people to see in you.
But what about the absolute fakes?
They could be fakes. However, I don't see them as fakes. I see them trying to bridge the gap between where they end and where they want their audience to end up at. If I go to a coach and they embody the perfect relationship, they say this is a perfect relationship, that's what I have, it makes it difficult for me to achieve that. But if they are real, they're still growing, then I can relate better to them.
I know that's the idea, and I love that. But here's what I'm trying to say.
Please.
Typically, coaches, thought leaders, even celebrities, and I happen to have close connections to Hollywood, so I hear all the great celebrity stories.
Great.
Everyone purports themselves and presents themselves as perfect because they don't want to lose credibility. For celebrity, it's a little easier. You can be like a country singer and talk about how you have issues and you're on your 7th divorce and everyone's like, cool, that's what country singing is all about. You're singing about your shitty love life. Great. But for a coach like a Tony Robbins, for instance, let's just throw his name in there, you cannot share that you don't have it all together or you lose credibility. So let's be very real about that. There is incentive for coaches to stay totally buttoned up, pretend they have it all together, pretend they're the one, pretend they're godly. They're incentivized to do that. And I don't necessarily think that it's good for branding or marketing for them to authentically share their issues. I've unfollowed spiritual leaders because they came onto the camera crying on their Instagram about how their life was such a mess. And even though that was authentic, I was like, unfollow.
But why?
Because it felt like a clash between the high energy that they were channeling versus their human self. And maybe we want to tap into people who are genuinely channeling and embodying that higher energy instead of switching back and forth between, even though I know it's more realistic to go back and forth between human and godly. That's what human life is. But maybe imperfect people want to worship perfect people. And maybe authenticity actually hurts your chances. I'm just playing the devil's advocate.
May I?
Yeah,
May I? Because I see you've saved the best for last.
Of course.
Or the rest of the conversation, rather. If a coach, and by the way, I put coach in quotes because I feel like you have to know somebody really, really well in order to be giving advice, not going to the weekend annex and getting a certificate printed. But let's say a coach that knows you gives you some advice. But if they say, look, I'm guilty of the same thing and I do the same things that I'm telling you, but we should not, I would respect them a lot more. Than saying, oh, here's a nice phrase for Instagram, do this, put it on your wall, but knowing that they don't do that themselves. I see where you're coming from. But if 80% of the coaches in the NFL haven't suited up for a single game, but yet they're head coaches, because the job of the head coach is to see things, see your potential, see your downsides, and make you lean into your better self. So it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that is preaching and walking the same walk.
It can be someone that is observant enough and has the ability to love people and care for them and trying to bring them up, versus having the same exact, body, the same exact mindset that you're trying to achieve.
May I say something about that?
Yeah.
He's right. However, the Lakers, let's take the Lakers. They've had many coaches. The most successful ones are the ones that were players, because the players will listen to them and respect their perspective because they know they've walked the walk.
I agree. However, if some of those people haven't won championships, it's unfair to say, well, because you haven't won 5 championships, I'm not going to listen to you. I think if you embody the mindset and the vision to help people get from point A to point B, I really don't care if they've won championships, if they are struggling in their own personal life. If they can bring out the best in me, that's all that matters to me.
I don't care about that part. I care about the part that the coach actually says that. Says, you know what, I slip, I don't always walk the walk, but this is the advice we should follow. I would respect them versus coming across as a know-it-all. The advice, I get it. If any advice helps somebody, more power to them and to the coach E. All I'm saying is the person giving the advice should not come across as, I know it all, my life is perfect, here's my photos, on Instagram, I have a perfect life. If they're authentic, that, you know what, I do have issues in my life too. I don't always follow this, whatever I preach, I don't follow it, but I should, then I respect them a lot more.
That's some good shit. I'm having a revelation as I sit here. It's descending onto me.
You go shit?
No, I didn't even have a perspective to begin with. I was devil's advocating it to get the conversation started. My opinion, it was what I shared prior to us hitting record on this, which is that imperfect vessels are fine by me. I was just stirring the pot to get you started in the beginning. But as I sit here, I'm thinking to myself, there's truth in what you've both said. Some teachers and some professors and some coaches, like sports coaches, yes, they were educated, but they never became the champions. They're not the Tom Bradys. They're people who were in it, who learned and are good at conveying the knowledge they know, and they're very observant. It's like a different skill set to be a coach and a teacher than it is to be a great person.
Right.
We are all multifaceted. Some of us are frauds in some ways. Others are frauds in other ways. But to your point, Kevin, I think if you can acknowledge that and say, I am still human, and at the same time, I resonate with what I'm sharing and there's truth in what I'm sharing, those two can coexist. But I think the acknowledgement of it is a key piece.
So you said that if you see a thought leader all of a sudden have a
That was like years ago.
tumultuous life, you say unfollow.
Yeah.
Right? So that says that image of perfection is what you're seeking.
Well, let's go through that real quick, though,
Okay.
because that was years ago. And again, I said that to stir the pot, which I think I did successfully. Well, can we address the story real quick?
Sure.
So I followed a channeler who channeled aliens and said that she was psychic and connected and had it all going on. She did coaching, she did YouTube, etc. And one day she started talking about psychic attacks and demons, and then she got onto an Instagram live crying and talking about how she had been so badly psychically attacked. And it wasn't because of what she was saying that I was turned off. It was because of the utter powerlessness and the total shift in energy and persona that made it feel like the other part of her was a performance. So at that point I was like, if you refuse to acknowledge that you are struggling until you have a massive breakdown in public in front of everyone, I don't know that I trust you to lead me. It broke trust.
That was my point too. Like, be you from the beginning. Admit that sometimes you make mistakes and you don't stick to your own words. And at the end, I think I respect that person a lot more.
Yes.
And I will not unfollow them.
Yes.
Because I realize they're human.
I don't want people to be God. I want them to be honest. I don't want them to be perfect. I want them to be real. That was fucking good.
That's a great reel.
I've seen so many influencers and coaches purport themselves as experts, and it is a performance. I want to see you put yourself forth as a real human being, and everyone's growing at all times. You wouldn't be in human form if you weren't growing, but admit that.
Right.
Admit that. She also said that Jim Carrey was replaced by aliens. I did a personal psychic sit down to tune into that. Totally false. My thought on her now is that she does shit for views.
Yeah.
And that's a big turnoff to me.
And that's when this young man told me about the pilot that
A VIP.
piloted around the VIP coach and thought leader. I realized the shit I was buying into, yes, even though the substance was good, it was coming from the mouth of a false prophet.
Yes.
And that made it not as special anymore. Because there's a drive, yes, the knowledge is good, but the drive to get there died.
So intention matters. That's what you're saying, intention matters. I know that, again, the substance can be good, but those of us who are refining our humanity and our self-mastery, I want the integrity of the leader to match mine. I want their intentions to be aligned with my values. But that's a personal thing. You know what I mean? I take ownership for that now.
Yes. I think he is good for those who are coming in from a bad place and need to change their lives. That's a very good start. But for somebody that says, okay, maybe I'm a little bit elevated than the commoners, I need somebody that actually is human.
Well, I agree and disagree with both of you in different capacities. We were working at NBC a long time ago, and you would see that the people in front of the camera were just putting on a show, obviously. As soon as the cameras went off, they would start cussing one another, cussing the kids from the orphanage who had come there for a tour. And you could really understand like what the heck's going on behind the scenes. But when this man used to go to schools and pass out books and sit down with them and listen to their stories and sign autographs for them, and then came in the car and said, those motherfucking kids, in a way, from me who sees both sides, it negated the good. But from those kids who only see the good, it was a life changer. So I can't really fault you guys for having if the integrity is not there behind the scenes and I don't like this person and therefore his advice is shit. And I said this a few months ago. I said, if I go to a psychologist and they have relationship issues, but they're talking to me about relationships, I said, I'm not going to take their advice. I said that.
And we pushed back against it.
And now
I did at least.
But now I changed my mind.
Oh.
Because maybe that person being in that situation has given them the knowledge and the know-how as how to tell me how to do things.
Exactly. Maybe they can't break their own patterns, but all the more reason why they're an expert, because they're up close and personal with it.
So I don't really care about what they do in their personal life. I care about them lying. Let's say if I say I can help you make $10 million because I did it myself, and I don't know how the heck to do that, then yes. But if I talk about how to grow, how to have a better marriage, and if someone asks me, what would you do in this situation? And if I don't know it, I say, I really don't know. Like, let's ask someone else.
Okay, let's get even more practical with that, because you say, I care about them lying. But what if they can tell you how to make $10 million? They really can, but they've never done it. And that's a lie.
Well, it is a lie. But also if I know that those steps are practical and those really do get results, then I'm going to have them cheer me on and get me to $1 million.
Got it. So you don't care about them lying about their personal life?
If they flaunt certain things that are not earned correctly, maybe I'm going to have a lesser view of them. But I think all of us are imperfect, except me.
Yeah.
And if I can... look beyond that and just look at the substance that they're spewing out, if I can take away even one thing out of the 10 things they're telling me, I think it's a win-win.
Kevin?
Well, the advice is better received by me if I know they've done it, they've been there, and because then I will see the end result. That's them. Versus, I got some theories. Let's run with this one, see what happens. Because if they've become a millionaire from their business venture, then I see them, I see their car. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. Walk the walk, talk the talk. So that's my whole...
Wait.
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 Me go. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to start talking, so you go third. In our business, we tell people we can rank them on the top of search results. We can get them on AI. But if you look at our own stuff, because we care about everyone else's, our stuff is suffering. Our website is number one on Google.
But we don't tell people we've done it, now we can do it for you. We say we can help you. We didn't say we did it and now.
Well, let's say someone like Tony Robbins didn't say, do it because I've done it.
Yes, he does. That's all he does.
No.
I was in my helicopter, I looked down, I said, wow, that's my audience.
Listen, that's the story of him going from rags to riches, which gets people inspired to think, okay, if I'm working at McDonald's, I can also have a better life.
Financially, he did it, and I respect him for that. But if he's giving other advice, not him, anybody else, giving advice about, walking the righteous path, but they've got like 8 mistresses in the closet.
That would be true in a religious confine. Like, I would understand that, because in religion, if you say you shall not do this, you shall not do that, great. But he's not a religious leader. Okay. We got to distinguish between who is a coach, who is a thought leader, who is a religious leader, who is a politician, and then kind of expect or change our expectations based on who they are or what messages are spewing out.
So then the bottom line is you don't listen to everybody with the same weight.
Yes.
And there's other things that have to go into it before you buy into it. And that's what I'm saying. My buy-in is being human, them telling me that they're human, they've made mistakes. If they haven't done it, don't tell me I've done it and this is a path, here's a playbook, but I've never done it myself. Good luck to you.
Let's say you were both coached by me, okay?
As we are every Friday.
To have a better relationship, right? Or to make a lot of money or do something grand. And you guys go through with it and you guys reach the Holy Land. And you're like, hey, Ardavan, I did it. And you look at me in the corner, I'm like, trying to save a couple of, dollars on the cereal because I'm broke and I don't have the best relationships. I've burned all the bridges. Will that make you guys a success less important?
No, but here's the thing. At least I never would have chosen you if I sensed that big of a gap between reality and lesson. So you're thinking, if I successfully coached you, would it matter? I'm saying you wouldn't even get through the door with me.
I would not hire you if you're collecting coupons to be my success coach.
What if you didn't see that? What if you saw me drive around in a Porsche or live in a mansion?
Eventually, there's going to be a crack. I'm going to see it.
It wouldn't be, but you know what would sell me? Not the coupons or the Porsche. The integrity that you brought to the meeting. If we had a one-on-one and I liked you and I truly felt your heart, I would say yes. It doesn't matter if you're counting coupons or you have a Porsche.
Right. I mean, I would rather be authentic and tell people certain things that I'm struggling with as well. But I think that makes me more.
Well, you don't have to tell them that right out the gate.
Well, not that, but let's say if I'm talking to someone about divorce and I say, my marriages didn't work out, for example, or my relationships don't work out because there's this one thing I can't get over. And then they know I'm more human, but then they know that about me. I think for me, a coach is not the savior who wants to pull you up, but you work with someone and you know that they have faults, you know what their strengths and weaknesses are, and you're willing to navigate around that. Yeah. And if you just see someone as the Messiah, that they have to be perfect, that they have to have lived the exact life that they're preaching, I think that becomes a bit more problematic.
That's the whole point we're trying to get across the table here, beautiful table, is that it doesn't matter. It matters that they're authentic. They can sell me a dream of how to clip coupons and buy a Porsche. But if they come across, wearing a fake Rolex watch trying to lure me in, I'm not going to go for that. All I'm saying is that you can be a coach. You can give me tips and tricks. Great. To me, it matters if you've done it also. And to me, it matters that you're honest if you haven't done it.
But if they get you there, let's say if Tony Robbins gets me to a next level, which he kind of did when I was shrimping on my mom's floor the day after my divorce, if he can get me from that state to a higher vibrating state, and I'm grateful for that, I don't care if a couple of things that he is preaching are not 100% true. I don't care because he helped me.
Yeah, but then that distinguishes a true thought leader from a parrot. I don't know that anyone can get you further than the energy they embody. So let's say Tony Robbins got you off the floor from being shrimp to being an upstanding person again. But if that's that's where he plateaus. Maybe that's the best he can do because that's the top level that he can embody of energy. There are other people who are living what they preach, and they keep rising and growing and rising and growing, and they can take you higher, higher, higher. I guess what I'm saying is a coach maybe could get you through, like a coach who doesn't really practice what they preach could get you through a little blip, but you're going to have a high turnover. Whereas the coach or the master, the icon or the thought leader who continues to grow, continues to stay authentic, continues to challenge themselves, they can take more people with them for longer. That is a totally different ballgame. We're talking about different types of leadership.
Right. The way you call me master was great.
Anyone can take you to the next level. They channel in a certain energy and they can hold that frequency. And if you're down in the shithole, they'll take you up to their level. That's great. Anyone can do that. When I think of thought leaders and icons and coaches, I'm thinking of the ones who can take you all the way to God. Now, have I met any of those yet?
Yes.
I mean, yes. But I believe they're out there. I believe that the more integrity we have, and that's my incentive to do the work that I do for myself and self-love, I think the more integrity you have as an individual, the longer you can lead and the higher you can take people. Otherwise, it's just going to be like, okay, yeah, I got you into a marriage. I got you married. Okay, I got you to stop fighting with your spouse, to use relationships. For Tony Robbins, okay, I got you off the floor. But who's going to take you to the top of the mountain?
Yeah, once you see that person as actually a much higher figure that you respect and you everything they do, you're like, wow, they have integrity. They will not only make your shrimp into a seahorse. You see how the shrimp goes into a seahorse?
The shape was right on.
Got a seahorse. But then you can fly. You can
soar.
You know,
I understand what you guys are saying, and great, but there are different levels of coaches in different levels of your life. And let's say I'm a shrimp and I become a
seahorse.
Seahorse, right? That's where I need to be at that time in my life. Then I'll switch over to someone else who takes people from seahorses to, let's say, whales. Okay, I'm going to switch over here. And then I want to go from whale to giraffe. I'll go to the next one. I don't know if there's anyone that can go from zero to hero. So we have to, I think, compartmentalize our expectations for different people. And if, let's say Tony Robbins gives advice about personal growth, relationships, finances, this, blah, blah, now health. All right, let's draw the line at personal growth and let's say some relationships. Okay, but other than that, you're not my God. You're not going to do everything correctly in every realm of those things. So if I were you to take it easy on the coaches in here, right? Say, okay, this person is good for getting me to stop fighting with my wife.
Yep.
And maybe have better communication. Now, are you guys going to expect me to teach you how to have a better sex life? No. Go to a sex therapist, right? So I think we have to understand what that person's capacity is and core competency is and just give them or give our attention to that portion of things.
So agreed on that one.
Yeah,
so agreed.
I love that.
I will answer that, and then you can put the cherry on top.
I think that was a cherry.
No, there's more cherry. That was a whipped cream. We need nuts. I'll be the nuts. My brother's so right. I just want to say that. My brother is so right. Different strokes for what? Different folks. So, yeah, some people are relationship coaches. Some are business coaches. And some are whatever coaches. I will say my final piece, which I've repeated 9 times, I think. This will be number 10. Is that no matter what kind of coach you are, short-term, long-term, business, relationship, just damn it, be authentic. And I will believe you and follow you with more respect.
Gorgeous. I would say, coach or no coach, if your main passion isn't being the best, most expanded version of yourself, I'm not interested, because that is the core, the foundation of every other silo in this life, from relationship to spirituality to business, is you. You are the foundation. So if the authenticity and the integrity are missing, or the thirst for growth in your own life and love of your own self isn't there, I'll pass.
I'm not going to say anything else. I'm upset at you two for still having the same viewpoint as you did before the Enlightenment. But it is what it is.
Triple Shot Mindset.